100 RBI. I mean, dude, if he's not the number one player off the board next year in fantasy, I'm going to be freaking shocked.
Sorry, I missed the word ooh.
Raul Mondesi Jr.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, he's on pace. He's on pace for like 60 stolen bases right now to go along with a ridiculous amount of power.
No, I own him in one league, and I'm happy to get him. I literally got him there. Uh, Royals wrote, "Just say it, Douglas. Fantasy football is easy." That wasn't the point I was trying to make. It's like fantasy football gets it right with the simplicity of the process. That's what I was saying. I'm not going to say it was.
Yeah, but I mean, we could argue
it,
right now that the baseball season could be too long.
and that's one of the reasons why we need more than ever to simplify the process.
I mean, would anybody be really that upset if Major League Baseball went to, I don't know, 120 game schedule?
Well, I mean, actually, I thought of that. Because like we were talking about, you wanted to bring up the game being played in Omaha, like some of these little things, like what if they went to 100 games straight, and then we just took every record and did it per 100. Like Barry Bonds is still the home run king for the year, but he got 73 home runs in 162 games, and you have to prorate it down to 100. So the record now is whatever 47, right? So if the guy can get 47 home runs at 100, then he's the home run king. Could you do that? I don't know. There was a time, like, I mean, if you think about the development of baseball, the reason why baseball played the way it is because it was like people loved it so much. Like a team would come into a town, like this is before the Major League Baseball even started, like 1870s. People would come, the Cincinnati Reds would pull into Portsmouth, and they would play the Portsmouth team, and the place would sell out to the thing, and then there'd be enough guys that wanted to come to the game that couldn't make it, that they said, what we should do? We should play like a 2 or 3 game stand, because like no other sport does that. You don't in hockey, you don't go to play. Toronto doesn't go to play 2 out of 3 versus the Canadians or whatever. But so they play 3 game stand. So like a lot of that stuff that we have, and then because people wanted so many games, you had to play 100 or so games, and that's part of a legacy that maybe baseball doesn't have anymore. I would miss it from my general love of statistics, but I can understand that dropping down to 100. I don't think you'd do much less than that, and I don't think that anyone would really do it because less games means less money. It's like where the money really comes from for the teams is the television contracts, and they're not going to pay as much for 100 games as they would for
I get it. It's never going to change. It's dollar and cents. I just don't.
No,
if you're
sad.
talking about
sad,
quality of the product, I feel like if the players were a little more rested, we get a little bit better, quality of product. We'd probably see guys performing at the top of their peak, like we did see during the steroid era, because a lot of players will explain to you that steroids aren't about getting bigger or stronger. They're about recovering and being able to play at the top of your game.
Well, I mean,
7 nights a week, 162 games over 6 months, which is just an insane pace that anyone's ever tried to play any kind of sport for that kind of. It takes a toll on your body.
Having dabbled in steroids later in life, it can make you stronger because the whole point, like,
well, obviously it makes it stronger, but most people just assume you're just getting huge and jacked. But one of the big factors is recovery.
All it does is recover you. But that's the whole thing, is that if you go and you do a bunch of bench presses, you've torn down your muscle. And like literally, if I go and do like a full on workout, now at age 50, I can't go back to the gym for a minimum of 4 days. When I was 28, it was like minimum 2 days, right? But if I took an enhancement, I could go back the next day. And if you're basically saying like whatever growth a person would get over a course of like a month, because you're taking steroids, you're getting that growth in a week. That's how you get bigger and bigger and bigger by it. But yeah, that's actually all steroids do, is they heal you. They're not like magic muscle potion. It just makes the process of building muscle much easier because of the fast healing process. Ugh. Did you want to say anything about the Omaha game? I brought that up real quickly.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool, that the fact that the Royals are playing a game in Omaha for the first time ever. A Major League Baseball team is playing a game there, and those either know Omaha, that's where the College World Series is being played. But I think it's cool to get the Major League game. We've started to see this a little bit with Mexico City, etc. But and we talked about this a little bit off air, but maybe getting more of these opportunities for these fans that don't live in these major city markets, an opportunity to see a baseball game a year, or maybe even more than that. I just think it would be cool. It could help, and grow the fan base for those teams, as well as give these people in these more rural areas an opportunity to see a Major League Baseball game, which is cool.
There's a lot of cities out there that you sit there and go, man, they don't have this, San Antonio doesn't have a baseball team within like 400 miles,
Yeah, the closest is what, Houston?
I actually think the closest might be Phoenix.
No, Dallas or Houston is San Antonio.
Houston, yeah. I'm sorry,
because
you're right.
You got the Rangers.
I was thinking El Paso, which has over 1 million people. That's what I was thinking of. Like, there are big cities nowhere near this stuff, and there are decent sized cities, like Salt Lake City, like, I'll try to come up with another one that's harder to do. Where they really can't hold a team. For 100 and for 88 home games, but man, I wish teams would do more visiting. Like they do that game, in Omaha. Yeah, go ahead and do a few games there. Bring it on there. There's no team in Oklahoma City. That's a big city, right? There's no team in. They did the game with Little League. Don't they play a game in Williamsport once a year? That's kind of cool. Most people forget that the Expos played for a while in San Juan, Puerto Rico. It was literally a home game for them. And it's like I always thought, why don't more teams do that sort of stuff? Like, play. You have trouble selling out your games at home, and it seems like everybody has trouble with it nowadays. Going up to the Yankees, the Yankees have trouble with it. It's like, look, knock it down to shave 21 games off it for like 3 7-game runs where you play for a week in some other city and bring them into it. Yankees play.
Yeah, it would be a really good idea. I mean, like the NHL does that Winter Classic where they play in a baseball stadium every year. Do something cool like that. Go play in a football stadium somewhere where there's no team. Go play. There's got to be go play in Green. I mean, there's obviously a team in Milwaukee, but go play and have the Brewers go play in the frickin' Packer Stadium. Cool things like that could bring national attention where a game's getting broadcast on the NBC on a Saturday afternoon that everyone's going to tune to because it becomes a tradition.
I live on the I-4 corridor, and like when we were going for like an Olympic bid, the I-4 corridor went as a whole. Tampa, Orlando, Daytona all said, let's try to get the Olympics, and we can do it through this because we're really close. We're an hour from Tampa, and like Tampa doesn't draw people because they're in the wrong city. They should be in Orlando. Because
they're not even in Tampa. They're in frickin' St. Pete. Yeah, that's the biggest issue with that stadium is the fact that you have to go over a horrible bridge out of Tampa to get to a different section.
Yeah, it's literally it's actually not on the I-4 corridor. I-4 stops before you get to it, and then you have to drive another whatever it is, like 12 miles, and half of that's through like city streets, and not like a big city street like downtown St. Petersburg. It's a pain in the butt to go to, And the only reason that stadium is there is because those guys were idiots. Tampa didn't go through the normal process to get a team. They were spending like the late 80s trying to woo the Chicago White Sox to move to them. So they went out and built a stadium for them before they had any team there. And then because they only, had they waited until the Major League said, hey, Tampa deserves a team, the city probably had to come up with better property to give to them. But they gave them that spot on the end over there by St. Pete. At the end of St. Petersburg, it's a terrible spot for a stadium, and so it's like, I mean, they would sell out a lot more if they were, if you think about, where I live on the north side of Orlando, but if they were to like play in like the southwestern corner of Orlando area, we're sitting in a spot where 140,000 people a month go to Disney World. And you'd be 16 miles away from that, right?
I was just going to say that. So, I mean, I know that Atlanta Braves have their spring training home down there, and that's a major draw. Then one time I did go to Disney World, and the Anaheim Angels obviously are sitting right outside of Disneyland, and that's a major draw. It didn't make any sense to me that Major League Baseball would not want a team in Orlando.
Yeah, it's just what I'm thinking. Like I don't think you can really pull it away from Tampa because Tampa has what Tampa has that Orlando doesn't have is that when you go to Florida, the largest city in Florida by far is Jacksonville. Then Miami comes second, right? And then 3, 4, 5 are Tampa 3, Orlando 4, St. Petersburg 5. But by making that team Tampa Bay and not Tampa, encompassing both teams, those cities are fairly close to each other. They're as close as Oakland is to San Francisco, maybe even closer. You're looking at in that like Tampa has like 380,000 people and St. Petersburg has like 270,000 people. You're talking about putting them together, you have a 600,000 same city. That has pretty decent sized markets. The Tampa TV market is like the number 10 or 11 in the country, and the St. Pete market. Sorry, the Tampa St. Pete, because it's combined, is like the number 10 market in the country, and because it's number 10 market in the country, the amount of money that Tampa Bay gets to broadcast their baseball games is significant. Significant enough that they'll never be short on money to stay there. The only reason they would leave is if they thought they could get a better deal with some other TV contract someplace else, but there isn't a city out there that would give you a better TV contract unless some smaller city like that loves baseball. If let's say Omaha,
I would love to see Portland get a team. Honestly, that's the next big play. I mean, I say it because I'm obviously really close to Portland.
Close to Portland?
About 4 hours.
Did you ever watch that Netflix documentary, The Battered Bastards of Baseball?
No.
Do you have Netflix?
No.
They used to have a minor league team, and their minor league team would like sell out in Portland. It's called The Battered Bastards of Baseball. You know who?
I'll have to look into it.
I always bring up, like, it's always a curiosity. Like, you know who Kurt Russell is, the actor?
Yeah, of course.
He played for them because his dad owned the team.
Really?
Yeah. His dad was like an actor who was famous for being in westerns and being killed. Like, he would always brag that he was killed by like John Wayne. He was killed by, all these famous people. And he took that money and he bought this Portland team, and the team was basically not very good, but they would steal bases and do all those other things, and they would sell it left and right. And finally they got pushed out because, like, I think the Dodgers saw how much they were drawing and they decided that they wanted that city, and by rule they had to move. And the Portland Dodgers never drew the way those guys did, but Portland was a big baseball town. What was the name of the team that was in Portland?
I don't know.
A single A team, battered as well, but it's the Portland Mavericks. That was the name of the team. Netflix, The Battered Bastards of Baseball, a really fun documentary.
I'll have to look into it.
About Bing Russell and them doing like they were the guys that would do all the crazy Bill Veeck type stunts, but they would sell out minor league games.
Huh.
So Portland is a good town.
Man, I gotta get going here tonight.
Yeah,
I gotta start some dinner for my kiddos.
We're at that 143 mark
over here,
which is long enough to do that. I'll post the thing. You can go in. Well, that's stuff we don't have to talk about on the air, but you can go in and edit it afterwards. It was a pleasure talking to you. Maybe we're definitely going to talk in the future. It might be this Thursday night slot. It might be a tape thing that airs at some other time. But there is a commitment to both of us just jawing about baseball a little bit because it's been fun, hasn't it?
I got my mute on again. My kids washing dishes really loudly. Yeah, it's been a blast. And like I said, I don't know that we'll be able to do it every Thursday, but I enjoy it when we can.
I don't think we have to worry about telling whenever it's on. My show's on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning is Lenny. Those are the two big ones. You can catch everything else there.
I should be back Monday at 11 Eastern. I did miss this last Monday, but
Monday at 11.
I should be back at my normal time slot.
He'll go into detail about Brian Dozier. I don't know.
I will. I'm going to break him down a little bit more. I'm going to do some actual stat breakdowns where I can bring the pain on some numbers that I've been digging up on a lot of guys.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we're always ready, never prepared. Or something like that. I don't know what it is. But thanks for anybody listening. Thanks for listening to the show. And hope you tune in next time. Thanks, Dan, for just an enjoyable conversation. I'm up later than I expected to because it's always fun here.
Thank you, Doug. I appreciate it, man.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Peace.
Do. That's it. So now we're off. Do you want to stop broadcasting?